Your Excellency, Mr. Mayor, dear colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to welcome you in this house, part of Ghent University. It's the Pavilion van den Hove. In fact, it was Charles van den Hove, great architect, who gave it to Ghent University. So it's a gift from him, meant for exhibitions of all kinds. So our students are supposed to work here and to prepare exhibitions, and this is exactly what has happened now. The students from the second master, third bachelor years have been in Japan with the the assignment to look beneath stereotypes of Japan and make photographs, make photos that put them in another light. I think that the result may be seen. It's quite impressive. So I thank you very much for coming here. I would like to apologize the director of the university who was not able to be here, and the vice rector was prevented because of health problems in fact, but I'm sure that everything will turn out fine. So thank you again very much for your being here. And I will give the floor to Professor Niehaus, who will give you a more profound instead of a superficial welcome. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I don't know whether it's more profound, but it will be longer anyway. Dear Mr. Ambassador Shimokawa, dear Mrs. Shimokawa, dear Mayor Matthias de Klerk, dear President of the European Association for Japanese Studies, Professor Verena Blechinger-Talcott, dear Vice-Rector Freddy Motir, dear colleagues, students and friends here in Ghent, and dear colleagues from the EAJS conference all around the world that are now following the opening via live stream. So in the name of the curators of this photo exhibition, The Other Japan, Marlies Holvoet, she's also here, and Peter Waterschoot over there, and myself, we would like to welcome you to this exhibition. As teachers of Japanese studies, we all have noticed that students have matured and changed after they have spent time in Japan, after they have spent time abroad. It is indeed a period of self-reflection, of questioning oneself, one's beliefs, and one's convictions. And staying abroad offers actually a promise of reinventing oneself. Whether it's happening or not, that's another question, but it's at least a promise. And starting from here, we actually wondered how the perception of Japan would change for students that had been in Japan as exchange students. Would they be able to look beyond stereotypical descriptions of Japan? Would they be able to find the other Japan and visually capture it? And then another question is obviously, what is the other? And we will see that students answered this question in a different way. One of my favorite authors, Christian Kracht, in 2000 wrote, "Tea ceremony, wabi-sabi, zazen, miniature gardens, these things." And he used these words to describe Japan. But then he adds a distortion, a disturbing image that slides in front of the image of the exotic paradise. I quote, "I myself didn't know anything at all about Japan, except that over there, schoolgirls sell their underwear to the owners of vending machines," end quote. So while the distortion of the well-preserved, harmonious image of a traditional Japan is experienced as a fracture and rupture, it also confirms and feeds a meta-stereotype. Japan is different, and in its difference can actually not be understood. So the perception of the incomprehensible, the astonishment of difference then, is the fuel for numerous newspaper articles, TV shows, documentaries, travel blogs, and tourist photography. And, as we have noticed, also news coverage now with the Olympics. So here, these stereotypical images are constantly reproduced and also consumed. So were these students in the end able to go further? Were they able to look beyond the tourist gaze? You can have a look later and judge for yourself. And also the participants actually that are here now, participants from the conference can do that because we have an online link that has been activated so that you can also visit an online conference. And the link should be available via Woover. So I myself and the other curators were very impressed, or better, astonished, by the photos we received from the students. We were certainly flabbergasted by the photographic talent of some students, but more important for us was the way students were able to... That's interesting, it's locked. My excuse. Actually, it's from the United Kingdom. I think it's one of the participants of the conference, maybe. Yes. So, but more important, the way students were able to address and to further develop the idea of the other Japan. We therefore also decided in the end to interview the photographers. And the results will also be able you will be able to see these results upstairs in the exhibition room. Unfortunately, we had to make choices, and not all photos that could have been chosen made it in the end into the exhibition. As we also wanted the photos actually to communicate with each other in the exhibition place and in the space. Therefore, we also decided not to overload the room with photos and text, but reduce the material to create an atmosphere of not so much simplicity, but of concentration and quietness. A quietness that will be increased by the constant flow of background noise from the streets of Shibuya in Tokyo. And if the visitors then wants to have more information on the photographers, on the concept, there is a QR code that you can just scan, and then you will be able to follow more or get more information via that QR code. I'm very glad that our exhibition also actually attracted attention from the Japanese side. We already organized a pre-exhibition in Kanazawa, and we also have a welcome note by the vice president of Kanazawa University later. And then also the magazine Aoi Tori, which is a magazine for the expat community in Belgium, was interested in our exhibition and featured our exhibition on 3 pages in their August edition. And I also think that Mr. Yamamoto is here today, so thank you very much for the trust in our exhibition. We as curators depended on the competence and the help of many people. And we were lucky that our university could provide us with the necessary expertise that we needed for having a conference like that, or a exhibition like that here. So I would like to thank some people that helped us with the exhibition. First of all, for the wonderful design that you see here and all the promotion posters and the graphic material that was done by Jeroen Mignot. So thank you very much for that great layout. Then Bram van der Veere from the Van den Hoeve Pavilion here, who was always ready to help with the conceptual and, most important, the practical side of organizing the exhibition. And then, without the help of Patricia Rao and Marte Bulkan, who supported us hanging the really, really long panorama wallpapers, we would have not managed it, I think, on our own. Then, also, thanks to Tanguy for helping us during the last days. Then from our faculty, we have Hans Blomme and Raf Geusens, who supported our technical side of the conference, so the live stream, as well as the website. So, and then it is a little bit weird, but I still want to do that. I want to thank Marlies as a co-curator. She especially the last week worked really, really hard to make this exhibition happen. And thank you very much for enabling us to have this exhibition. So thank you very much. So at the end, at this brief introduction, we would like also to thank, obviously, our sponsors. It is the City of Ghent, because this exhibition also is part of the Ghent-Kanazawa sister city activities. Then the Van den Hove Pavilion, and the Faculty of Arts and Philosophy, and the Department of Languages and Cultures with their internationalization at home program. And with that, I would like to give the word to our mayor, Matthias de Klerk.
Thank you very much, dear Professor, Mr. Ambassador, dear Pro-Vice Rector and professors, ladies and gentlemen, dear participants, with the link. I hope it's the good link. Ladies and gentlemen, 2021 should have been a year in which we celebrated, you mentioned it, 50 years, Mr. Ambassador, of cooperation between Ghent and Kanazawa, our Japanese sister city. And we have been collaborating closely with the city since 1971. So we go way back. And this cooperation means a lot for us as a city of Ghent, and is still very much alive. And we couldn't let this anniversary pass by unnoticed. However, due to the corona pandemic, we have to limit our celebrations, and some events and exchanges have had to be cancelled. But fortunately, ladies and gentlemen, we are at last able to gradually resume our normal lives. It had been a long time, but the light is there, almost there. And I'm very happy that we are able to meet in person again, and that concerts and theater performances are possible again, that we can go to our favorite pub again. In short, that Ghent could be Ghent again, magnificent and lively city. We all spent a lot of time in front of our computer screens to attend meetings, to join family, friends, virtually for a drink, and even to take part in conferences. And this morning, for instance, we saw the start of the digital version of the conference European Association for Japanese Studies, the world's largest conference for Japanology. It's impressive. Yeah, it's really impressive. Congratulations. And this event would normally have taken place physically in our beautiful city of Ghent last summer, but no worries, Professor. Ghent will host the next edition of the conference in 2023. That's great news, and that's something to look forward to. And I'm honored to have been asked by the colleagues of University of Ghent, Department of Japanese Language and Culture, to say a few words for this opening ceremony of the photo exhibition The Other Japan, which will introduce us to the work of several students who lived in Japan, including in our sister city, Kanazawa, extra interesting, for 6 months or a year, so quite a long time. And this exhibition has already made a long journey. The photos were first on display at Kanazawa University, and would normally have been exhibited in Ghent in 2020 within the context of the conference I mentioned earlier. So we have had to wait a year longer, but today we can finally explore the other Japan through the eyes of the students. And I'm very curious to find out whether a prolonged stay in Japan and an immersion of the Japanese culture have enabled these students to do away with the stereotype of the unfathomable home Japan. When we think of Japan, we all too easily imagine temples, tea ceremonies, wabi-sabi, of course, the Fuji mountain and the geishas, high-speed trains, skyscrapers and high-tech, and these images contribute to the perception that Japan is different and can never be really understood. But in fact, we have many things in common. The corona epidemic has made that also very clear. During these difficult times, we felt more than ever connected, on a distance, but mentally connected. And yeah, the world is one big island, in fact, and the responsibility from the one has impact on the health of another. So I think it's an important lesson in this world. We are all very connected and independent of each other. I think it's an interesting lesson, but that's for another moment maybe. But in fact, I'm looking forward to discovering the other Japan, not only our sister city Kanazawa, but also other beautiful Japanese cities like Kyoto and Kobe, as seen through the lenses of our students. It's not easy to travel to non-European countries yet, but this exhibition brings Japan and Kanazawa to Ghent, so that we can still highlight the 50th anniversary of our cooperation, a half decade. I've been told that the exhibition can even be visited online, so that people don't even have to come to Ghent to discover Japan. A new trend that has become increasingly noticeable since the corona pandemic. My special thanks, also by you, I think, Mr. Ambassador, go to Professor Niehaus, Andreas, thank you very much, Marlies Holvoet, and Peter Waterschot, with a nice book, very curious for the photos, who are responsible, ladies and gentlemen, for the organization of this exhibition, and to all students involved for sharing their picture and their lovely feelings about the other Japan with us. So have fun on your journey of discovery in the real Japan. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor, for these kind opening words. And I would like now to give the word to the Vice President of Kanazawa University. He couldn't be here, unfortunately, and we all know why, but he was so kind to record a message for this opening ceremony that I would like to.
ゲント大学の皆様、この度の写真展、The Other Japanの開催おめでとうございます。金沢大学副学長の志村です。ゲント大学との交流のコーディネーターを務めております。金沢大学を代表して心よりお祝い申し上げます。Congratulations to all members of Ghent University for hosting the photography exhibition The Other Japan. I am Shimura, Vice President of Kanazawa University and Coordinator for Partnership of both universities. On behalf of Kanazawa University, I would like to extend our heartfelt congratulations. 金沢市とゲント市は1971年より姉妹都市でありますが、金沢大学とゲント大学は2009年より大学間交流協定を結び、それ以来多くの学生が交換留学生として相互に学部、大学院の両レベルにおいて留学してきました。金沢 City and Ghent City have been sister cities since 1971, and Kanazawa University and Ghent University concluded the agreement of cooperation and exchange in 2009. Since then, many students have studied at both universities as exchange students at both undergraduate and graduate levels. そしてそれぞれが自分の研究を行う一方で、さまざまな文化体験をしたり、日常生活の中で生活習慣や ものの考え方の違いを学び合ったりしてきました。今回の写真展はそうした学び合いを象徴したものと思います。While conducting their own research, each student has had opportunity to experience both nations' cultures and learn about differences in lifestyles and way of thinking through their daily lives. I feel this photo exhibition symbolized what they learned. すでに昨年11月から12月にかけてプレ企画として今回の写真展の展示作品の一部が金沢大学図書館において展示されました。私たちはその作品を見てその写真の対象、切り取り方に新鮮さと驚きを持ちました。From November to December last year, some of the works from this exhibition were already exhibited at the Kanazawa University Library as a pre-event. When we saw the works, we found uniqueness and were surprised at the subjects of the photographs and how they were framed. ゲート大学の学生たちが日本で撮った写真が私たち日本人が日本で撮る写真と全く違うテイストと視点を持つことを感じたからです。その意味で今回の写真展は言葉の真の意味における異文化理解と多文化共生を私たちの完全に展開するものと考えます。We felt Ghent University students took photos of Japan with completely different tastes and perspectives from Japanese people. In this sense, I believe this photo exhibition will show us cross-cultural understanding and multicultural coexistence in the true sense of the word. ゲート大学の皆様、このような交流事業を通じて金沢大学とゲート大学の連携がますます強まり、双方の国際化が進展することを心より記念します。To everyone at Ghent University, I sincerely hope the cooperation between Kanazawa University and Ghent University will continue to get stronger, and internationalization of our both universities will progress through exchange programs like these. コロナ禍の後、また実際にお会いしたいと存じます。それまで皆さんのご活躍とご健康を心よりお祈り申し上げます。ありがとうございました。I hope to see you again in person after the corona pandemic. Until then, I wish you all the best of luck and good health. Thank you very much.
I'm very glad that Professor Shimura agreed to give us this welcome speech because we have been working together for quite a long time already. He has spent, I think, 3-4 times already here in Ghent, and he was always very supportive when our students were in Kanazawa, finding apartments for them, bringing them to the hospital, and things like that. So he really invested a lot of time in our students. I'm really grateful for his support. This exhibition would obviously not have been possible without the students that contributed to this exhibition. And I know that our students do not have the best reputation at our university. I have to admit the results are not always that good. However, and that I think is more important, our students grow, they have interests outside of the academic sphere, and they are talented in so many ways. And I think that we sometimes underestimate that and overlook it and just focus on academic performance while there are so many talents. And I think the exhibition here is an expression of these talents that our students actually have. And although they might have to stop their studies, I'm always sure that the talent they have, they will make it anyway. And they at least spend a good time here at our university. So, and the exhibition is a result of that. Obviously, we also want you to hear the voice of at least one student. So, I asked Malou van den Heuvel to also address the audience. The participants of the EHS conference already know her because this morning she was also doing the musical interludes. So with her colleagues, she was playing pieces from Studio Ghibli. It was received very well, as I heard. So Malou, the floor is yours.
Good evening, everybody. I'm really happy to see you all here. It's been a long time. Oh, can I take it off?
Yes,
Okay. It's been a long time since I saw this many people together. It's very nice. So I am Malou. I graduated from Japanese studies 2 years ago now. And after this, I started studying classical piano in Leuven. So that's why I was in the video. It's already about 2 years ago that Professor Niehaus contacted us for the first time, telling us there would be this photo exhibition. And I think, I'm super happy to be here today to finally see the project realized. So thank you again to Professor Niehaus, to Peter and Marlies for this wonderful event. I really hope that with our pictures we can give you another look at Japan. The other Japan means for everybody something else, of course. And my selection of pictures has some kind of an atmosphere of loneliness, abandonment, and mystery. Some pictures are taken in Hokkaido. I also studied at Hokkaido University in my bachelor. And when I went on a road trip, we visited the countryside in Hokkaido, which is very much abandoned. And it's actually thanks to taking these photos that I was able to decide my topic for my thesis, which was the depopulation of rural Japan. Another selection of photos is taken in the village of Nagoro. I don't know, maybe has somebody ever heard of Nagoro? Except for Professor Niehaus. So Nagoro is a really tiny village in the mountains in Shikoku. And it's now known because at some point an old lady in the village, she was so sad that all the young people were leaving Nagoro and were going to big cities. And to kind of fill up the emptiness that those people left, she started making scarecrows, but really like life-size. And so now other people of the village have started helping her with making these scarecrows, and now the village has already a lot of more scarecrows than actual people living there. So actually going to these places like Hokkaido and Nagoro, as you will see in my photos, gave me a very surreal feeling. It really felt as if I was in a different world, as if time has stood still and like you're the only person there, which is actually true. You're most of the time the only person there. It's so far away from the daily reality of Japan, which is busy and ordered. I really hope that my pictures will be like little windows through which you will peek through and transport yourself to my other Japan. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Malou. Actually, the picture you see here that we have chosen for the poster is also one of Malou's pictures, so one of her photos. So, where are my notes here? So, this is actually the end of the opening ceremony. However, I have some important things to say at the end. First of all, it was already mentioned that we are in a period of COVID. So unfortunately, also this opening event had to be limited in number. We could not invite everyone we wanted, and we could also not allow everyone who wanted to come to actually come. That is really unfortunate, but I hope everyone will be able to see the exhibition later on. And Paul Buschmann, our librarian, just reminded me that the last time His Excellency and his wife were here, it was just before the lockdown. So maybe it's a good sign now, as he mentioned, that it will be over very soon. Then we also are going to sell the photos to the highest bidder. So if you want to buy one of the photos without frame, because the frame belongs to university, you can tell either Malise Olwood or me, or write us a mail until September 11. So that is for supporting the exhibition, because as you know, these exhibitions cost a lot of money. Although we had sponsors, we still would like to go on vacation. So if you're interested in one of the photos, you can write us a mail or contact us directly now during the exhibition, and we will take a note. And after September 11, you will know whether you are the lucky owner of a new wonderful photo. And then we have a small reception prepared afterwards. If you go outside, you just go to the left and enter Rosier 44. And there we'll have some drinks and some beverages and something to eat a little bit for the participants of the opening ceremony. So I hope that you will all enjoy the exhibition, but there is one more important thing that we have to do, that is obviously officially opening the exhibition, which will be done by His Excellency and the Mayor of Ghent, and that will be done outside. So unfortunately for the participants at the EAGS conference, I have to say goodbye here, and see you during the next days, during the conference, and also in our WonderMe chat opportunities and in private chats as well. Goodbye to the world, and we now go over and open officially the exhibition.